Hey guys, my name's Jamble and welcome back to another video. Today we're showcasing a really special mod, something new that's really about Dragon Ball. Today we have Goose with us. Can you introduce yourself, Goose?
Yeah, I don't really know what to say exactly. I'm Goose, Aegis, or whatever you want to pronounce it like. Hello.
And so today we're just going to be showing off a little bit of the mod and we're going to have a little bit of a Q&A to see how this mod's developing. If you don't know about this mod is called Dragonblock C and it's a brand new mod coming to Minecraft 1.7.10 and really it's just all about Dragon Ball now, isn't it, Goose?
Yeah, pretty much. Obviously, there's the additions of the mod, which is like space, and there's a lot of things that I'm trying to add into it that I just kind of want, which I feel could fit into the Dragon Ball universe as well. But it's mainly focused on that.
So how long have you been working on this mod?
Started working on it a bit before October, but I wasn't really sure exactly what I was gonna how it was gonna work out, and if I was gonna do it. But then I decided to make the Discord in about October 2019, and that was when I really started telling people that I knew about it and getting them involved.
Oh really? And what inspired you to make the mod?
Well, originally it was going to be a My Hero Academia mod, and I was just kind of messing around and wasn't really sure where it was going to go, but then I started getting into that and I was like, this could really work for Dragon Ball, and I do prefer Dragon Ball over My Hero Academia anyway, so then I just decided to work on this instead.
Yeah. Well, both are great animes, I know that for sure.
Yeah, I've still got some good ideas for that, but we'll see.
Oh, so there might be another mod coming out. Oh, okay.
Not at the same time as this.
Yeah.
Maybe sometime in the future. I want to focus entirely on this. I've had that problem in the past to try and spread out too much and do too many things at the same time.
Trust me, I know that feels so much.
Yeah. So I'm trying to just focus on this.
So okay guys, after the Q&A, me and Goose were talking for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours about this mod because he went into such detail about everything. And he actually explained to me that you can explode planets. So there's going to be a clip here where he really explains about space battles and exploding planets. So without further ado, here it is.
So yeah, well, I haven't explained any of the other stuff though, I just realised. But so yeah, we're in an RNG dimension, and obviously the textures don't apply on those planets because we haven't got the biomes for them yet, so they're just white. But with these RNG planets, you can blow them up. So if at the moment, obviously, I haven't got it in yet, but when you'd be able to blow them up, so you'd be able to fire a key attack at them, they would have a health above them, and when it blows it up, it would disable the planet in the world in the universe system. So then it would blow it up, it would disable it. It would still exist in the world file. So then you're not able to go to anymore because the way all these planets work is you get close enough and it teleports you to its dimension. But you'd be able to go to the Dragon Balls and wish it back, and it would come back. And
wow, I mean, it just sounds amazing. Just the fact that you can blow up planets is just
because all these they're basically just they're just randomly generated representing a certain coordinate in because there's one dimension for all the planets. So then it's divided into the 10k by 10k, and then it was just say one of them's a 100 by 20, that's its ID in the set of planets. So then it'd be okay, this one's 100 by 20, fire a key attack at it till it's low on health, blow it up. Then it'd be okay, let's save that one as destroyed now. So then all the stuff on it would still exist, but if anyone managed to teleport back there or anything using any sort of way, then it would just kick them off, it will stop them going there in period. So it'll still exist.
You're already on there, will you die?
Yeah, you'll get killed.
So all you see is 20 people on the server die randomly. It's someone just ran and decided to destroy the planet for no reason.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't say no reason. It'll say 20 people died in a planet being blown up or some message. So I'll have a death message for it. So it'll just say that 20 people got blown up, basically.
How will you stop trolling on servers? I mean, I imagine a bunch of people are just going to run around just trying to be planet busters.
There's going to be an NPC force. The Galactic Patrol will exist. So if you're in, I'm going to be dividing space. So there'll be a little map for it, so you'll be able to see the places which are protected and what aren't. If it's not protected, then they'll be able to just blow your planet. It'll be up to you to protect it. They won't just be able to go up and just be pew pew blown up. There'll be health above the planet. If you're really strong, then I've got I'm going to probably allow it, but to begin with, you'll probably be more of a group effort for weaker people to try and blow up a planet. So it'd be a case of you'd be getting warnings saying your planet's health is going down, so then you'd hightail it into space and start a space fight.
Right, so the planet will have a health bar, and then
you'd be able to see it.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. So I'm guessing like people on servers, they're going to go and claim their own planet, and then when other people are trying to destroy their planet, they're going to come out and be like, "Oi, get off my planet."
on the official server, I'm going to be making a custom system, so there'll be it won't be like factions with commands and stuff. You'll have a little GUI for it, and there'll be a much bigger claim system, so it'll probably be like 512 by 512 chunks, like custom made up chunks. So it'll be like you'd be able to claim the entire planet basically, like without having to use millions of chunk claim, like without having to go in and claim each 16 by 16. So it'll be a custom system.
So will you be able to just fly into space then once you get to a certain level? Because obviously, if someone's destroying your planet, getting into a ship and then flying out and then getting out the ship, that's going to be a bit annoying, right? So would there be a way to just like get out?
You'd either need. Well, you can just fly straight up. You don't need a ship.
Okay.
But if you don't have a mask, then you're gonna, or you're not a frost demon or a marginal, you don't have an oxygen mask. I'm not gonna make it so you need a full spacesuit or anything. It'll just be an oxygen mask because it'd be a bit awkward. Like, because people don't want to mess up the style, really, do they? So it'd be like a techie-looking, futuristic oxygen mask. So you'll be reliant on oxygen if you want to be up there and fighting. But if you're a margin or a frost demon, you'll be fine up there. But it'll be a case of having the mask for most of for all the races that can't breathe in space. So then they'll just you'll just fly directly up, and you'll fly into space, and then you'll have to find them because they could be anyway. Like, they won't be that hard to find though, because in space, like, you can fly quite a lot faster. Well, I say I had to make it so you could fly faster, because if I make it so you fly slow, like if I made it so you fly slower than this, like right now, like when I'm moving, you can barely see me making any like sort of distance on that around that planet. You can see me moving like a tiny bit, can't you?
Yeah.
It's because that planet, I don't know how big it is, but that planet could just be really damn big, or I could just be like, because it looks quite close, but it's because of the fact it's really big, probably. Same way that doesn't move because it's huge. Like, equivalent the way it renders it, even though it's not actually 10,000 by 10,000, it's about 10,000 by 10,000 in size. That block, that sun. I think that's about what it is. And I don't remember how big I made it so you can get planets. I think they get up to about 6,000 blocks.
So will each race spawn on a different planet, their own planet?
Not sure yet.
Or will they all just spawn on Earth, and Earth will be kind of protected so you can't blow it up? So then, people can't just, interfere with their training and trying to get to a point where they are world busters.
Yeah, they'll all spawn on like the well, I might add an option so you can spawn on an RNG planet if you want. Like, I might make that an option. Like, it'd be dangerous. I mean, it might not be dangerous because I'm thinking about changing the system, which will reduce the planet count, but it will still be about 180,000 planets, probably about around there, because there's a little bit of fluctuation because I made it so there's a little random chance that the solar system doesn't exist. So there's when you can teleport to some coordinates, like 000 coordinates on the solar system doesn't exist. Like, if I go to that one, there's just nothing here because that's
the sun.
That's Earth. You can see Earth over there. Do you see the little
so
dot?
Tiny. Yeah, I do. It's so tiny.
That's Earth next to our sun. So yeah, you can see that, and it's really small, but you can see it. But yeah, this is 000 and just doesn't exist because I made it not exist I made this one not exist on purpose because the fact that Earth is so close to it. But there's something like that because I didn't want the star map to look really rigid and because if I made them all exist, then it would look really square. Because obviously they're all roughly in a 1.2 million block distance of each other, and then it randomizes them by another 500,000. It offsets them a bit, so then it makes the star map look a lot more.
And I guess that every planet has different health, right? So there's stronger planets than.
The bigger they are.
Yeah, the bigger they are, the stronger they are. Yeah, I mean, it just sounds incredible. I've never ever seen anything like this in Minecraft. It's honestly just, it's insane how far you and your brother are going to make it so much like Dragon Ball is incredible. The fact that you have space and destroying planets. I mean, Now thinking about it, having to destroy a planet and it has like a huge health bar, maybe, you know, like a lot bigger than humans, you can make it where it either takes a real long time or you have like multiple people who need to do it. So it's like, yeah, you could spend like 20 minutes destroying a planet, but you know, it gives a lot of people a lot of time to come and really defend. And not just that, I guess, you know, if you do make it so that Earth is destroyable, they still have Otherworld and Hell to kind of train in, so it's not the end of the world either, right?
Yeah, I'll probably config it so you can allow the pre-made planets to be destroyed if you want, but for the official server, they're going to not be destroyable because it'll have the spawn on them, on the Earth and everything, and that's where people start, like, that's where people get set up. Because you want to explore the universe anyway, because the way you're going to do God Key training is you need to find planets that are rich in God Key, and you need to train in God Key areas. So they won't just exist on the pre-made planets, so you'll need to go further out, and space is open PvP, so you'll need to like find, and the high gravity planets are going to be the place with the stronger metals and the better resources, so you're going to need those for making better things, so you're going to want to explore. And like this isn't just a map, by the way, like each one of these stars actually represents like that star there, like they are actually all stars you can go to. That's why some of them are bigger, like they look bigger when you look at them, like that one and that one there, you can see it looks a bit bigger. That's because they just are bigger stars. Right,
so those stars aren't just the background, they are actually stars.
Yeah, they're actually stars.
Oh my god. That's insane. That's really, really insane. Wow.
It doesn't render every star in the universe. It renders it like 3 million blocks out, like because each one's at 1.2 million. So it renders it like, I'm calling them sectors. So it renders the stars 3 sectors out.
Wow.
But it goes quite a bit further than that, because that's like, these are all like, that's what these sectors are. So it's like X, Y, Z. So then it's like, that would be like so then there's a star there, and then these planets here. I think that's the one that I went to earlier, and then like 5 again. And then this is just a star with no planets, apparently, which can happen. So that you can have up to 15 planets. This is just a star on its own, apparently. So I guess that makes sense.
And so the stars are just like a kill aura, right? I mean, they're not like something that you can go to and you're on like a fire planet. Now, are you? They're just you get too close to a star and you just die. You just burn up, right?
Yeah, you can't land on it. Yeah, it exists, but yeah, you fly too close and you'll kill yourself.
Okay, yeah, nice.
It's very hard to fly to it. It probably, if I did it right now, just like this, it'd probably take me about 30 minutes to get there. That's just a guess, to be honest. I have no clue. Like I'm barely seeing myself move when, like, I'm moving to the side right now, and you can see it slightly moving, but it's huge. Because it's bad. So it takes too long for me. Like, that's why you need the ships, and the ships you can set a coordinate, and it'll you'll be able to see all the stuff on the outside. There'll probably be an effect out there outside, like your ship, but you'll basically be just teleporting. Well, you won't be teleporting, but it'll be moving space around you and probably just like make you invisible to everyone else. So it'll be like warping. So then it'll move the space around you.
That's so insane.
You'll see it all moving, because the way this all just renders, I can just fake the position right now. Like, I could just set a custom position, and it would just because it's just rendering it around me what it knows where stuff is, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's quite the versatile with what I can do. So I can just make it so it fake moves you, and have everything move around you instead. So then it'll have a cool effect, and you'll be able to because then it'll look like Eve. Like, I don't know if you play Eve Online. Online, when you like warp, you can see all the planets and stuff moving around you. So you'll be able to see that. And I'd be able to like make it move at a much faster rate, so then you'd be able to just see the stars coming towards you and going by you, where you'd be able to see yourself going by.
Wow.
I probably need to make it so you don't go through them, because that would look a bit weird. But so I probably need to make it so it avoids any paths where you would go straight through it, but that'd probably be quite unlikely as well. I think we've got a bug right now. The skybox is lightening up, but it actually looks kind of good.
It does look good. I like it. Yeah.
It's a bug though. It's not supposed to, but it's like lighting up in different places. But yeah, it looks quite good. So that might be something I make it actually do. Yeah, the skybox is just lighting up a bit.
It's just crazy. I mean, everything about this. It really seems like margins are really broke too. So definitely have to play. My whole YouTube is Jamble. So I guess when I do play this mod, which I have to, because I mean, I'm gonna have to be a margin now because they just seem they seem really good.
I'm a bit split between the margins and the cyborg. Like going cyborg as a human. Like I really like the idea of going cyborg. To be honest, like with all the tech and stuff. And the cyborgs will have tech which kind of allows them to sort of be pseudo versions of the other races. Like some of the tech will allow them to do some of the things similar to the other races. So the cyborgs will kind of be a very versatile race that could do some weird things. Well, yeah, they're humans, but they're cyborgs. So yeah, the humans will be quite weird and wacky if you decide to go cyborg. And the margins, they could be OP. I might have to nerf them a bit at some points, but at the moment, I don't think they'll be useful. They're a very with their enduring skill, I've called it, where when they die, they regenerate, but it cuts their strength and attack, their strength and endurance. Sorry, it cuts that in half each time. So you've got a debuff that stacks to 5, and it keeps cutting your strength in half each time. So you can't really carry on fighting with it. It's more of a skill where it allows you to escape from any sort of fight.
So will you make the margins? Will you make the margins so that you're able to be both fat and skinny, or you're allowed to, or will you start off as fat and then get skinny, or do you only plan on skinny?
You'll have the option to change it as well, like with your it'll be like because the character creator will have like a height scaler and a build thingy where you can change it to different builds, so you can make yourself a bigger kind, like a fat character or a skinny character or a muscly like sort of character. So then when you absorb someone who's fat, then it will give you that like body, like you'll give you that body option. So then you could set one of your absorbs to be fat, like it, if you got what I mean. So then you can make it so you just suddenly turn fat when you go into an absorb. Because like the way the absorbs work in this, they don't apply to your base form. It's the same. Everything's trying to like use the canon stuff, but turn it into a temporary form type systems. Because obviously that's for balance. So then so then you use your absorbs like a form basically, and then you can merge absorbs to create more powerful absorbs, but it increases the cost of them. Like it makes them more intense if you're trying to merge them. So you want to take your cream of the crop, like best absorbs you've got, and merge them. Because if you tried to merge like 2 absorbs that were really powerful, and then you tried to merge like a load of really like weak ones, like 400 of them together to make it as strong as the one which you only use 2 for, then the one with 400 would be as powerful. But because of the fact that you've merged like loads of absorbs, it'll cost like a ridiculous amount to use that form. So it's more incentive to use your strong absorbs and merge them, so it doesn't cost as much. Like you want to merge as little as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Wow, it just seems so cool. It really does. So, okay, the first question I need to really ask is, will you guys add fusion to this mod with other players?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be in. I want everything that's in Dragon Ball, like the main stuff, to be in right at the start, really. And fusion and fusion dance and Patara are both planned. In the devlog, there was a little animation in the art log. Sorry, Doodle uploaded a little fusion dance animation as well. So maybe you could put that in the video as well if you find it afterwards.
Oh yeah.
I haven't got it in the game yet. It's just Doodle's made the animation for it, but I haven't actually used it yet because I haven't got to Code and Fusion yet.
So does that also include the sagas? Do you plan for it to be like a story-based kind of mod, or?
Yeah, the sagas. I'm working on for an official server, which I'm going to be making for it. That's the main focus, and the single-player saga will probably be coming afterwards. But this official server will have a saga because I want to go. Like the single-player one will probably be just Dragon Ball, and the official server one will be something a bit more custom, which wouldn't work with the mod on it. Like in single player, it would be more made up. So that's why it'll be going to the official server.
Yeah. What are these Nameks in the background, by the way? I'm seeing them lying on the floor.
Yeah, the spawn rate's a little bit high. That's why there's loads of them. But it was one I was testing because I've been working on the race stuff. Like basically everything's designed to match the Saiyans, like the Saiyan forms, and then there's race equivalent systems, I'm calling them, where it's like, so Namekians, they use Namekian fusion, and they keep on fusing with a load of Namekians until it gets up to the same level as Super Saiyan 4, and then past Super Saiyan 4, then they have to start mixing their Namekian fusion boost with God Ki, and they have to start doing God Ki training, and that's how Namekians go about their forms. So it's basically turning fusion into more of a temporary boost, like a form would be, because I can't do permanent base boost, because then it would be unbalanced with the other races.
Wow.
So
is the plan... Yeah, go on.
Well, and you're flying around, and then you'll find out that there's like a Namekian raid happening randomly. They don't just spawn dying all the time. It's when there's a raid going on, there'll be enemies about the place. You'll be finding dead Namekians, and you'll be able to fuse with them when that process is like happening.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, so is this the GUI that you've been making?
Oh yeah, that's just the pause menu.
Can you show us around a little bit?
Yeah, there's all these like different buttons which are just like dev ones at the moment, because it's like obviously the creator will just appear when you start the game. But so if I change myself to Namekian, then this menu is like the colors are all working, but then there's these body options, and obviously say cat because it's just testing. But like when you click it, there's options here which will appear, and you can see it on the Frost Demons. If you go on here, then you can see like they have a few different chest options. Like there's not many at the moment, and those ones don't appear to be any different. But so that's basically how that'll work. And those horns are old ones I made, but there's some new ones that Doodle's been working on. But so you'll have these two options where this is where all the variants are basically. So you can like change things, and then all the colors work and such. Then you can check. Well, they don't work. Oh yeah, they're working, but they're in a little bit of not working at the moment because we're messing with the face stuff at the moment and changing it all. But yeah, as a Namekian, then you should be able to go up to them, and when you start doing that, there's a bit of texture flicker that I need to fix because it's Z fighting. But basically, you do that and you hold down for long enough. There'll be a bit more thingy to it, and then it's white, and then they're gone. And then if you go on to your skills, you can see on here that it says Fusion's 1, and it's such... there's not much fusion boost at the moment, obviously, because of the fact that... But you've got your transformation, so you can hold down G for using it. But then you've also got it, so if you go in here, then you can find it directly. This is for other races which have multiple forms, so then you can keybind it to a different thing.
Yeah.
So then you can use a specific button for a specific form if you want, instead of holding G for whichever one you've selected through this menu.
Wow, I mean, this looks incredible, but something that really kind of interests people about this mod is the combat. Could you show us a little bit of the combat, if that's okay?
Yeah.
I don't know if you have to spawn something in properly, right?
Yeah, I just need to get the NPC radish for spawning the NPCs. They all have their mouths open at the moment. It's a little bug, but and they have no hair, obviously, because with the radish, there's a few bugs at the moment where it's facing the wrong way. Because I made this a while ago, and I've made a few changes since, and it's caused them to break a few things, and I haven't come back to edit it yet. But so yeah, you'll be able to edit them, and like you can set. I'm sure that doesn't work yet, but you'll be able to set the hair and stuff. But I haven't made that yet.
So I'm guessing this is so people can make their own sort of like bosses or something like that, like their own NPCs, right? Yeah,
it's an NPC system for them, and they'll be able to change AI. There's a little bit. There are a few glitches on the AI. You see them spinning around a little bit there, and there's been a few glitches that have been introduced since the video, which weren't there in the video because of the fact that I've changed things again, and it's caused problems. But yeah, their AIs. But basically, to get into fighting, you have to press C to go into combat mode.
Right.
And when they're coming for you, so then they're quite hard, but I mean they're not like majorly hard, but it's the timing on them's too perfect at the moment, which is making them hard. Like it's fairly superficial, like making them hard because their pathfinding is quite buggy. But you press Q to grab them, and hands inside his head a little bit, and then you can throw them, and they do. They don't exactly remember at the moment because I still need to work a lot on this AI because I've decided to make a new AI system different from Minecraft's one, and it needs some work.
I mean, I mean, it looks so incredible. I mean, everything from the combat to the animations. What really inspired you for the animations? You know, what inspired you to go so well out and make it this big battle sort of mod?
Well, a lot of it I wasn't really trying to right from the start. It was just I made an animation system, and that kept improving. And my brother, Doodle, he's the other owner, he kept on using the animation system, and that just like I would not have realized it could have gone this far really without Doodle like being able to. Oh, and now he's dead, but he's floating off a little bit. But you can just keep hitting them as well. That's currently a bug where if you keep hitting them, they keep resetting their death counter because I keep on killing them again. But yeah, then they fall to the floor and then they'll disappear. But yeah, my brother kind of is the reason why it's gone as far as it did, because I didn't realize how much he'd be able to go with the animation system, and I probably would have just gone with the first version. But like, I'm trying to move it over to using Blender, but at first, originally, I made this animator for everything, where my brother makes all of them. So then there's all the different body parts, and it's hard to explain. But I mean, I can't use it really. I don't know how he manages to use it, but it's basically like an animator that you'd see. It has all the function of the animation in Blender, except for a few things, really. Like, I don't know if you've heard of Blender, but it's a 3D modeling. I assume you would have done. I've used it quite a lot, but try and move everything over to Blender now, because Doodle's like we're making the animation, we're making the models in Blender, and then I want to move it over to using their animation system and like importing it into Minecraft. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
But I'm still in the process of working on that, because it is a very nice animation system that they have in there, and it's quite hard to make that sort of GUI in here. It's just a lot more. It's just a lot better, but try and make that sort of animation GUI in Minecraft. Like, it's quite limited.
Yeah.
So we're planning to use that.
So I notice all the Namek background and the different world gen. Are you planning to change all the world gen from natural Minecraft, and also the textures? I see that there's new textures for everything.
Yeah, we have replaced like the normal world on this is just flatland at the moment, but ignore that. But yeah, this is like the custom grass that we've got at the moment. But we do that was like something Doodle made right at the start. We're trying to go for everything being a little bit higher res. This was a ship, but I haven't loaded Doodle's new blocks. This is something that Doodle made when we were testing. That's for like the ship system. But yeah, so I do plan to make a new Earth, which is different. Like, I am trying to think about going away from these sort of dirt blocks, because like if you look at the pictures for Dragon Ball and the way their Earth looks, it's not really dirt, it's more sandy looking with grass on top, and like there's a lot of plateaus around the place, and there's like the plains and there's the mountains. So I'm trying to think about doing it where basically Earth will be, there'll be a plateau-y sort of flatland, and there'll be just a normal flatland, some snowy mountains, some normal mountains, some deserts, and that's about what it'll be at release for biome wise, probably.
So I noticed the spaceship, and obviously in the devlogs there's space travel. How many planets do you plan to release at launch? Well,
originally it's all RNG based the way it generates them, but it's probably going to be it's probably going to be lower. It doesn't use for all of the planets. It isn't one dimension. The idea is I'm using one dimension and splitting it up into segments of 10k by 10k planets. So they're all one dimension, but it's custom stuff to stop you going across from one to one. You have to go into space and then fly across the space dimension. And then when you get to, because the space dimension, you can kind of go right to the edge of the Minecraft world, which is 30 million, minus 30 million to 30 million to 60 million by 60 million by 60 million up. So I'm basically filling that with planets, but so you fly towards them and then it will teleport you onto the like corresponding world that it's generated.
Right. So can you fight in space, and will you be able to punch people into the planets? This is something that I need to know.
Yeah, you can fight in space, and punching someone towards the planet would teleport them to the planet, and they would keep their motion. So yeah, you could hit them all the way down to the planet if you hit them hard enough, and you could throw them into space if you can throw them hard enough.
Oh wow, that sounds really incredible. Man, seeing this mod and seeing you just show it around, it looks even more incredible than just the devlogs. You know, it really does look really, really, nice. So, why did you decide to make this mod in 1.7.10? And is it really going to be its own kind of standalone game, kind of using Minecraft?
Yeah, that's the plan, really. I've tried newer versions of Minecraft, and at the end, like the performance on them, it's a lot more. 1.7.10 was always the version I really liked as well, and I don't like some of the new API changes that Forge made, and it's kind of me just being a bit weird as well. But at the end of the day, this mod wasn't really designed to be compatible with loads of other mods. It is trying to be its own standalone thing.
Yeah.
I liked the way Crafting Dead did it, where they were on an old version for a long time, and they just did a load of things themselves. So I was thinking, well, if they did it, then I can do it. I'll stay on the version I like, and I'm doing this mod because of how I want it to be, and if people like it, then they can play it. If they don't, they don't. So that was basically what my thought process was on it. There was a lot more work in some cases, but if I'm willing to do it, I don't really see the problem.
Yeah, no.
Which I am.
Yeah, I mean, it looks incredible, and as you said, I don't see why, people would really mind, seeing as you plan to add everything, and you're changing, the default Minecraft from the world gen to, how the combat works. It is kind of like its own standalone game in many ways. So I can definitely see why you just want to focus on just getting it done. And it makes perfect sense to me. So something that you talked about a bit is the ability to tear off limbs and bleed, and is this something that you really plan to go all out with? Can you bleed to death? Is there anything like this?
Yeah, well, if you see up here, not sure if you can see my mouse actually. I'm sharing the application. Can you see my mouse, or does it not show that?
I'm just seeing your
Yeah, well, underneath the health bar in the top left, you can see there's like a little character portrait of a person there. And when you're like, it's not like in a case where it's like hit someone in roughly where their arm is and it will damage their arm. You've got a bit more choice over it. So like when you're in combat, you can kick apparently. You can do blocking by holding E, and the animation's still not final on that. We need to change that, and you'll be able to change as well. There'll be different block animations and stuff, and that you'll be able to select. You'll be able to change like your combat. I'm thinking about doing it where there's like a bit of like a deck sort of setup where it's like you've got like a card for a certain attack, and then you can determine like where you put those cards to determine like what attacks you do when, and like when, like, so if you wanted a full set of like kick attacks, so you're just kicking all the time, and then if you wanted like the leg block that Vegito does, then you could set the leg block so then you could look like Vegito when you're fighting. That sort of thing is what which one I do.
That's really cool.
Which I got. The idea for that was off the game called Absolver. I don't know if you've heard that, but I've heard of that game. But yeah, because they had like an attack, like that's where I thought of that. So I'm planning that sort of thing is what I want to do. But so when they, not sure if he can do enough, keep him right clicking because that was what it was to block before, but apparently he's not attacking. So when I'm blocking it, but yeah, he can't do enough damage to me to get it. But basically, when you block, that determines that your attacking is. Let's go back into game and see. But that determines that your damage will go to your arms instead, and that health is made up of your arms, torso, head, legs. So if you get damage to your head, it will start to mess with your key control, so then your key controls start to go weird, so because it's you're taking too many head blows. So that'll be if they hit, like if you hit towards the top half, it will damage the head. If you hit towards the bottom half, it'll damage the legs. But the only time it will damage the arms is when you try and block. So then when your torso hits 0 is when you die. It's not when your limbs. So like if your limbs hit 0, they'll break if it's blunt damage, but if it's energy damage or slash damage from a sword, then you'll cut them off. So it'll be a case of trying to determine when you should put your guard up and when you should just try and avoid it, because you want to keep your torso safe at all times because that's your lifeline. So it's trying to use your other body parts to block those vital areas, basically.
Wow, this seems incredible. I mean, the detail that you guys are really going in, I never realized how much detail you guys are putting in, and honestly, it looks incredible. It seems incredible. The ideas are just great. So I'm guessing, swords and things like those are going to have a big advantage in fights, where they can cut off your arms. And can you regrow your arms or anything? How does that work? I'm guessing some races can.
Yeah, the Namekians have a ability to regenerate their arms, and the Margins, just when they lose their arm, will just come back effortlessly, whereas the Namekians have to regenerate it with stamina. Sensus bring your arm back, and if you just die in general, then obviously you'll go to Otherworld and you'll be back in one piece, and then if you manage to revive, then so you get your arm back if you just decide to die as well. But then if you want to survive it, then you gotta if you're a normal person, you'd have to stop the bleeding first because there's a bleeding effect, so you'd need to use some sort of medical, like most of the medical items will stop the bleeding, so you'd need to stop the bleeding first. And then if it was a case of that, like, you could live with one arm missing if you wanted. And then for the beginning, I want to make it so there's a prosthetic system, which actually has a meaning, but for the release, it'll just be, you can get a prosthetic and it'll just work exactly the same and it'll just have different texture.
Yeah. So you said that Martians won't be able to use Kaioken because they have no stamina, right? Will they also not be able to lose body parts because they're like bubblegum or whatever they're made of?
Yeah, if they have their body part cut off, it'll just come back.
Right, okay. So are all the races going to be balanced, or what's the plan with that? Like, how are you going to balance it if they can just regen their body parts?
Well, it's balanced in the sense that they have different pros and cons, but in certain cases, I'm not trying to balance it in a way where it's just making everything identical. I'm just trying to, if I give something a positive, then I give it a negative. So then it could be that one race is really good at a certain thing and they'll annihilate another race in a certain situation, but it's about trying to read those situations and realizing, yeah, that's a margin, I should not do that at this point, and backing off potentially, or like knowing your limits and being able to do that. So it's trying. There will be things which are overpowered in the beginning. I'm going to have to do a lot of modifying and messing around and stuff because it's just, I can't really avoid it. But I am going for a general overall. If I give them something, I have to give the other races something of an equivalent value. Or if somebody has to go through this much effort, then they all have to go through that much effort to do the same thing or something of the equivalent.
Wow, I mean, it looks incredible. And do you guys have an ETA on the mod? A release date or anything like that?
At the moment, the plan is just quarter 1 or quarter 2 of this year, but obviously we're coming close to quarter 1. But I'm still working on a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of things which I just need to go back to and just do a little bit of polishing. And I work in the way I work on it is I do a lot of big things, then I'll go back and polish everything. Then I do polishing segments in certain time periods, like I'll do a load of big things and I'll go back and polish everything up. So then that's why there's a lot of unpolished things about the place. I jump from task to task a bit too much as well, but like leaving things a bit unfinished. But at the moment, everything's sort of in this build right now, because I'm in the middle of working on the margins and the Namekians. The Namekians are sort of almost done. The margins are what I'm working on right now, trying to make their absorb system. That's why in here it has this little absorb editor, which shouldn't be on this race, but it'll only appear on the margins when I've done it.
Right. And will there be any alignments or anything like that?
I wasn't planning on doing like alignment systems at first. It might end up tying into the fact that, because it just seems to, the only real thing that it has a use for is when it comes to Super Saiyan God, exactly, with that. But I'm kind of just planning to go away from it because it just seems a little like it just blocks people out that want to be bad. And there'll be I want to make a faction, like a race faction, like system where you could become like hated by a certain race and it would affect the NPCs. Like that you wouldn't be able to talk to certain NPCs or go into certain areas with certain NPCs because of the fact that they hate you, because say you went around murdering them. But that's probably about as close as it'll come down to being evil. It won't really be about some magical mental you're bad. It'll just more be about the perception of like all the NPCs of a race hating you.
Oh wow, well, that seems even better if you ask me. Wow. And so thank you so much for showing us and giving us a Q&A about the DB3 mod. I mean, it looks incredible. It looks amazing just seeing everything and hearing, the real passion that you guys have for this mod. As one last fun question, what do you think about Hytale, and are you excited for Hytale?
Yeah, me and Doodle have been excited for ages. I signed up for the beta, the beta thing ages ago. But yeah, I do like the look of it. It looks like a really good game. I do
Okay.
like survival games.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for this interview. It's been a pleasure. And
No problem.
yeah, guys, if you like the DBT mod or if you're interested in it, in the link below will be the Discord so that you can come join and watch all the devlogs and talk to people who make the mod. Honestly, it looks amazing. So thank you so much for spending some of your time really showing us what is going in the mod and obviously answering the questions.
Problem.